everybody, it's time to LOL. Listen out loud, that is. It's time for Anime Jam Session with DJ Ranma S, Mako-chan, and Ari Rockefeller.
Hey everybody, welcome to Anime Jam Session, episode number 566. We are that podcast that talks about anime, games, conventions, the fandom, geek stuff, and everything in between. I'm DJ Ranma S.
And I'm Mako-chan.
And Ari is off tonight. Well, since we did cover Derpycon this past weekend, Ari had to take care of some other things, so he's going to enjoy the night off and get something that is rare that he rarely gets: a good night of sleep. I wonder what that's like, you know? I mean, I suppose I could get a good night's sleep on the weekends or the days when I have to work the late shift at work, which is just an hour, you know, but still. I kind of feel a little bit more refreshed waking up around 7:30, 8 o'clock as opposed to 7. What about you, Mako? How many hours of sleep do you need?
Do I have to be awake?
Yes.
Then I definitely need at least 8 to 10
Okay, fine.
to not be tired.
Anywho.
I usually only get like 6 to 8.
Yeah, I love them cats.
It's not even the cats. Even on the weekends, I'm so used to getting up at a certain time, so now my body just wakes itself up.
All right, fine. So, how are you doing tonight?
Speaking of, I'm tired. I was up late last night.
I was feeling exhausted earlier, but now I'm just like... And I'll get into that during my weekend day, you know, when we get around to it. So, anywho, let's get the show on the road tonight. Wow. We are live tonight, week of November 1st, right here on Twitch TV. You can catch us here live Tuesdays from 9 to 10:30 p.m. Eastern, right here at Twitch TV/Anime Jam Session. And we're also part of the Voice of Geeks Network. So you can always find them at vognetwork.com. And they also stream on Twitch as well. You can find them at Twitch TV/VOG Network. And through there, you will find great shows such as the Bobby Blackwolf Show and Orange Lounge Radio. They start things off on here on VOG through Twitch Sundays starting at 8 p.m. And we kind of push things along on Tuesdays. It's kind of how we do things around here. So, and don't forget, we have a Discord. So come through, hang out with us at vognetwork.com/Discord. Every show that's part of the Voice of Geeks Network has their own channel, so come through, hang out, and have a good time, you know? Oh, man. Let me adjust this lumbar. All right, perfect. Much better. So, now that we got that out the way, we're going to kick things off with how was your week? How was your day? Mako-chan.
Week and day, not horrible. I had a very busy weekend. Between the convention and then the concert, Monday I ended up doing a trunk or treat. Just the area I live in obviously doesn't get trick-or-treaters. And so the community was putting on a trunk or treat. So I went with my mother because she lives in the area, and she decorated her car, and then I dressed up as Lydia in her red wedding dress and handed out candy to all the kids that came by. And I have to say, some of the costumes were really cute and really thought out. But I did see a Mario and I saw Luigi.
Wahoo.
Yeah. Some completely handmade costumes, some, store-bought, obviously, but it was really nice. And there was a family that came through. The mother was dressed as Velma. The father was dressed as Shaggy. And then there was a little boy and a little girl in a wagon. They'd put cardboard on the sides of the wagon to be the mystery machine.
Mm-hmm.
The little boy was dressed as Fred, and the little girl was dressed as Daphne, and it was absolutely adorable.
That's precious. You know what? And it's kind of interesting you bring that up because I had just seen like the whole Velma LGBT meme, and I had said, yeah, and what's messed up is when they do the next Scooby Doo movie, they're going to completely forget they even did this.
Yeah, I mean, it has been hinted in some of the previous movies. There was the one movie, I think it was the one of the newer ones
Yeah.
where we're in Egypt or something like that. And they all went to sleep. And when they went to sleep, it showed Daphne and Velma in what they were wearing.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they were woken up by, whatever was haunting or criminals and all of that, they had switched outfits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And as Cedar Berry says here, it's pretty explicit and Mystery Incorporated at the end, at least. I'll say this. I think a lot of times they do things with the characters just because it's kind of funny. It's kind of silly. But then, depending how you do things with the characters, some people will read into it like, oh. And I think that sometimes happen purely by accident, and then you kind of run with it. As I've said before, I if you were to take each of the characters from Scooby Doo and just kind of put them in the entire universe for their sexuality, Velma would be pansexual. That's what I pick up from that, but I could be wrong. But in the long run, every universe has Scooby Doo characters, however you want, that'll make you happy, and that's it.
Well, we all know that they're a polycule, so.
I've been saying that shit for God knows how long.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, who wouldn't? Just saying. Didn't mean to interrupt you. Please continue.
No, that's
Okay.
all. I'm watching my cats fight now.
Of course you are.
Well, Cassie is cleaning Damien, and Damien just has this look on his face like, what the hell are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he has got angry, grumpy face on, but he's not. Oh, there we go. There we go. Like, he was just taking it, and then all of a sudden he just went, nope, and bitch slapped her.
Think.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, you're good. And as Bonds 006 says, LOL, I just the content as it is. I think that's what we all do, and I think that's more than fair. So, my weekend day has been interesting. Work's been good. I'm just trying to adjust something on my phone here. I am sorry. There we go. No. Yes, that's fine. Do what you gotta do, phone. That's fine. All right. So here's the thing. Work's been good. So I took off early last week. To go to Derpycon, and come to find out when I come in today that I was the only analyst on deck in the New York office.
Oops.
Okay, the thing is, I knew one of our team members is on vacation. He's coming back next week. I knew the other guy was going on vacation. Kinda. I knew he was going, and I totally forgot to 10 minutes after I got there. I was like, oh. So it was a little chaotic, a little hectic, but I was still able to go through all of this. And it happened again today. Because I thought he was coming back today. He's coming back tomorrow. So, and one of my coworkers was like, how do they let just one person be on site like this? And I'm like, well, I think the permissions to do all of this came in purely by accident. But also, there's at least 9 to 10 other people working in the UK, Nashville, LA, and remote that can take calls. Because honestly, I didn't get a lot of people coming upstairs, so it wasn't so bad. Some things were a little hectic, but it overall wasn't so bad. Um, let's see what else has been going on. We're gonna get into it later in the show. Me and Mako went to see BAND-MAID live out in Jersey, and that was great. I have some thoughts on that. We'll save it for that. We did Derpycon. Outside of that, I didn't dress up for Halloween in the office this year because it was either going to be Luigi or Shaggy, but I just wore the Luigi hat all day, so people started calling me Luigi. Now, you're probably wondering, well, how come you didn't wear a costume? Well, the president of the company was in the office yesterday, and he'll be in the office tomorrow. I didn't want to put on a costume and jeopardize my job. And even if it wasn't like that, better safe than sorry. I don't think he'd bat an eye if I'm just wearing a hat. I didn't work with him at all because since he's VIP, that fell under another person in my department. But still, I don't think he needs to hear people talking about there's somebody in the New York office running around as full-blooded Luigi. So better safe than sorry. So we'll see what happens next year. So that was my weekend day, and now we're gonna get into some housekeeping notes here. Don't forget, every episodes of Anime Jam Session are available on our YouTube page at youtube.com/Anime Jam Session. Click on playlists and you'll see podcast VODs. Episodes are there. Episodes go up 12 noon on Thursdays Eastern time. If it's not up by 12 noon, that means I forgot, and it'll be up later that day or the following day. And last thing on our list here is upcoming conventions. Our last one of the year is Anime NYC at the Jacob K. Javits Center, November 18th to the 20th in New York City. And now that we're finally into November, we will be having our Christmas special. I believe it'll either be December 13th or December 20th. Well, depends on how that goes. And then after that, we will be on vacation for the next 2-3 weeks. And we'll be kicking in 2023 with our year in review and some other cool stuff. So I think that's how it's going to be. And man, where has the year go? It's interesting. Every day I get a notification from OneDrive and it's like, remember this photo from 1, 2, or 3 years ago? And I get the email. It's like, oh yes, good times. I gotta remember to have it to continue to back up the photos that are on my on my phone, because I basically ran out of space on Google and I just started deleting videos. And I'm like, I don't need these videos to be stored unless I can store them somewhere else. So, that's all fine and dandy. That, and I'm not spending money, for Google One. I kind of missed the fact that you had unlimited storage to upload your photos if you put them in, not in 100% resolution, but compatible resolution to save space. But what else? Now we're going to get into the part of the show that y'all really enjoy. It's Geek Roundtable. This is where we talk more about the geekier aspects of our life, and we kind of share off some cool stuff. So, looking at Mako-chan's screen, is that a squirrel holding a stick?
No, it is a panda holding bamboo.
Huh, doesn't look like Genma to me.
In that note, it is filled with alcohol.
Ooh,
it's actually a Georgian, as in the country, not in the state. It's a Georgian wine. I don't know the year. It is, available in some places, sold out in others. This was gifted to me. My mother helped one of her neighbors move. He was moving out of his house and into a an assistant living home. So he ended up having to downsize quite a bit. And one of the things that he ended up not needing and not taking was, a bunch of alcohol. This happened to be one of those bottles. Again, it is a Georgian red wine. It is a dry wine. I don't know the year. I just thought that the bottle was kind of cool. It is a clay-made bottle, which is also kind of cool because, our bottles here, we don't really get, anything like that. That's interesting. So yeah, I just thought I would show off this little pretty bottle. And yeah, it's filled with red wine. And at some point I will open it and I might drink it. I'm not a dry wine fan, but yeah.
In that case, y'all, stick around for the Christmas special.
No, I've got other stuff for the Christmas special.
Oh my.
Yeah, that is depending on whether or not I have work the next day or if I decide to take off.
And I'm suddenly thinking of UB40 right now. For those of y'all who know, you might be entitled to compensation for that one. Okay, so I've started on my fall anime lineup, and I am loving the hell out of Akiba Maid War. It's John Wick meets Goodfellas with a touch of casino. No, this is a spoiler if you have not seen last week's episode. If you haven't, I suggest you skip ahead a good 30 to 60 seconds or mute right now for 30 to 60 seconds. So to help you all, for those of you who are participating with the show, I am holding up a white piece of paper. I'm letting you know this is spoilers. So if you don't want to hear about this, I'll suggest you mute until the paper comes down. So there is a scene where you find out about the different maid cafes are part of an organization, and they got to make their money. One of the leaders finds out that one of the maids has been embezzling money to pay their sweets cost. This leader shoots the maid 3 times in the gut. And then this other maid who's standing on the stage walks over, takes the gun, and says, "I will take the fall for this," and walks off the stage.
Wow. Tell
me that's not no mafia shit right there. I'm just like, what? That was loud. That was just outlandish as fuck all, but I thought it was great. So, and if that made y'all go WTF, you need to check out this series, Akiba Maid War, and it actually takes place in 1999. So, there is a funny video that's going around from the first episode that I've been showing people as a reason to watch it. I will probably share it on our Facebook fan page. So, also, as I have said before, and I know a few of you are probably dealing with this, if you've been ordering merchandise from like J-List, Ami, Otaku Mode, a lot of stuff's been delayed due to the pandemic. So, I've been getting email notifications like this product has been pushed back. I'm like, I don't care as long as I get my hands on it. So, I must have missed the email for this, or I got it and I just forgot. One of the figurines that I pre-ordered like a year and a half ago finally shows up. It's a Christmas figurine that was supposed to arrive December of 2021. Well, I guess I'll have it for December 2022. And this is the colorful Mai Sakurajima Winter Bunny figurine from the anime Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. This is the only anime. This is the first anime I've ever watched that has convinced me that I should collect bunny figurines, because for the longest I didn't like them. It just wasn't my thing. But after watching the first episode where she's walking around in the bunny outfit, just in a normal monotone voice, just having a conversation, I was like, yeah, I was kind of convinced to pick this up. So I mean, to get one. So I believe this is like the second my bunny figurine that I have, and I might just crack it open and put it on display for the holidays. And as Orange Wright says, ooh, nice, love that anime. Well, I also have the movie. I have yet to sit down and watch it, but I do know they did announce a season 2. So, all right, now that we got that out the way, let's talk about BAND-MAID for a bit. And before I continue on, I want to apologize to everybody who watched this last week. I did go back, check the audio. You could hear the dog barking outside. You heard the kids upstairs. It's far and few. I couldn't edit that out, so my apologies. But if that dog starts barking again, I'm going to have to close my window. At least this time, I won't be sitting in here sweltering. So, anyhow. BAND-MAID 2022. I don't fully remember how I got into BAND-MAID. I think I found it through somebody else who linked me to one of their videos, and I was like, I am hooked. What I'm wearing right now is their 2019 U.S. tour shirt. On the back is all of the tour dates. So I'm also going to connect BAND-MAID to conventions. Like, I saw BAND-MAID in 2019. The day before going up to Massachusetts for AAC, and this past weekend, we saw BAND-MAID after Derpycon. And also, one of my friends, Justine, saw BAND-MAID at SakuraCon, I believe 2016, 2017, and she got me an autographed CD from them. And because of that, she gets my firstborn. Now, we get there. It's at the American Dream Mall at the American Dream Theater at Nickelodeon Universe. And what it was cool is, with this ticket, you get entry to the theme park, and you could chill and you can enjoy the rides. I didn't get on any of the rides, but I thought it was still cool that your ticket covered that. So we got there like around 4 o'clock, something like that.
Probably about that.
Yeah, after trying to figure out how to park.
Oh my god. See, the mall itself, where they built it is right next to the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
It's a football stadium that houses both the Giants and the Jets. Well, the Jets were home this weekend, specifically on Sunday, and they lost, and everybody was leaving just as we were getting there. So they had some of the roads closed. They had some of the entrances into the parking deck closed. They were, having people stop so that they could allow people to walk across the street. It was a mess. The signage sucked trying to get into the parking deck. We ended up passing the entrance once and having to go all the way back around just to get into the entrance so that I could park.
Right.
So yeah, that was not fun.
So we finally got in, and we walked around, and it was a good time. I know we ended up buying some beef jerky,
Yeah, we ended up buying beef jerky. The mall closed, I'm guessing, earlier than what it said on there, because it did say on some of the stores that they were supposed to be open until like 10 or 11. And
on some it showed midnight. I'm just like, midnight on a Sunday? Okay.
Yeah, so the times that they have listed are just very much incorrect, because I kind of really wanted gelato as we were leaving, but everything was closed. But yeah, it was nice. The mall itself the whole story with this mall. It is one of the malls of America. It has changed owners like 3 or 4 times because basically it became a money pit.
Yeah.
So it took them years and years and years and years and multiple owners just to build it, or I should say finish building it, which they did during the pandemic. Which is why like half the stores aren't even filled yet. But it's got the Nickelodeon amusement park, which is, you know, a bunch of roller coasters and other rides. It has a water park, which is DreamWorks. It has 3 escape rooms.
3? I didn't even know they had any.
Yeah, there's an escape. It's like one complex of escape rooms, but there's 3, I think, separate rooms in there. They have mini golf in there. They have the ice rink in there. They have the freaking ski jump in there. I know they have laser tag. They've got a couple of different things. And so you can go to the mall and go to all the attractions, or you can just walk around the mall. But the complex is huge. It's 3 stories. It's one of those you go all day to be able to walk around this place. But yeah, it's the whole the whole story behind the mall is freaking crazy as hell. The fact that they even finished building it.
And as Calliope says in our chat here at Twitch TV/Anime Jam Session, they have an aquarium too.
Yeah, basically anything.
I want to go back now because I like aquariums.
Yeah, it's a whole tourist trap. Most of the malls of America are, which is, you know, why they're so huge. They're supposed to bring in tourists and people for a whole day. You know, you spend there and you can eat and you can drink and you can, you know, just have a full family day and a full event there. It's kind of mind-boggling, but at the same time, who really needs a ski jump in a mall? It's a bit much.
You know, coming from me, I think I'm gonna have to agree with you on that. So,
not that I don't want to go back and actually walk around the entire place, because again, gelato.
You're kind of stuck on this whole gelato thing, huh?
I wanted gelato, but like I didn't want to eat it because I was afraid of my stomach, because gelato is very rich. And that's all I needed was to have to keep running to the bathroom during the concert. So that's why I was going to get it after the concert.
But
so yes, I'm very petty about not getting gelato.
Italian senses tingling?
Something like that.
Okay. So, of course, I will say the merch table was really overpriced. It was more overpriced than the last time, but I still bought stuff.
Yes, you did.
I bought
an abundance of things.
I bought 3 t-shirts. One's a long sleeve, a copy of their latest EP, and a keychain. So now I feel like I need to rotate out the keychains that I have right now, because I know one of them on there is at least 2 of them are on there are at least 10 years old, at least. So. So now what was cool was the fact that you were able to check out the rides with your ticket, but it didn't.
Yeah, actually kept the rides open for the people going into the concert.
Yep.
It wasn't that it was just general admission. This was specifically for people for the concert.
Yep. Now I kind of felt what they should have done. I don't know what time that area closed. They should have closed it an hour early and started letting people in early just to enjoy the rides while there was still friggin' daylight.
Yeah, that would have been nice. Yeah. I mean, being able to go in there and get snacks and stuff, because the concession stand, by the time like we got in there, they were just selling drinks.
Yeah.
We're throwing out the leftover food.
And when I walked over there, they were just done selling all together. I was just like, wow, you know. Now,
Yeah, but you couldn't bring anything in with you.
no.
So it's not like you could bring drinks or food or anything. Like, so that's the only place to be able to get drinks and food. They definitely should have either let you in earlier or kept it open.
Now I would have caused a scene. They said I had to toss the beef jerky. I'm like, this is like $70 worth of food here. Have you lost your mind? Because they stopped when they checked my bag. They stopped me just for that.
Yeah, but it's that at least it's not like you were coming in with drinks and
True.
sandwiches and things like that. That was something that was purchased in the mall. So they would have to tell people that they can't bring in purchases, which is fine because they do have lockers on premise. But that's still something that they should have announced beforehand if that were going to be the case.
Yeah, I gotta post the photos and the videos of the concert. So after that, Mako found a spot to sit down, and I sat down too because like I said, I've seen BAND-MAID live already, so I had really no desire to be towards the front where the band is. And I was not going to stand for this concert for almost 2 freaking hours. I did it once before, just wasn't feeling doing it again.
Yeah, the fact that it was standing room only, I was not going and fighting with a bunch of people just to get up close. I can hear and see the band perfectly fine, being able to sit where we sat. So I was perfectly happy with that.
Now, the funny thing is, I'm thinking when we get there, there is an actual theater where you go inside and enjoy the band. That's what I'm thinking. Nothing fancy or anything like that. Just something simple, No, it's basically was a con stage with fancy lights.
Yeah, that surprised me too. Yeah. I basically in the middle of the park, which I mean, it's all indoors, but in the middle of the park, they set up a stage, and then around the stage is where everybody stands. I can't imagine certain people that will be playing that stage, it fitting. BAND-MAID is one thing. It's, kind of lively. It's very jumpy. It's, cutesy. But they've got like hardcore rappers and crap that are going to be playing that stage. That just seems, with roller coasters and crap like that playing in the back, that seems weird to have that. I mean, I can't imagine future concerts being held there. I can't imagine them getting, some sort of big name and playing like what looks like as Ranma said, a convention stage.
Now, one thing they could have done was have a camera just on the stage and then have a couple of projections set up. I ain't talking no 2 camera setup, just one of the whole stage and project. That would have been nice.
Well, this was their first concert. So this is, a learning experience, which we learned when they still hadn't set up the barriers and dividers for the lines by 5:00 when VIP was supposed to go in at 6.
Right. They didn't let anybody in till 7.
Yeah, I don't think the people that were running it, I don't think anybody had a clue of what they were doing. Again, I give them a pass on this because it was the first show that they were doing and putting on. But at the same time, like, if you're all security and security, people are going to line up early. And they had people lining up. The VIPs were lining up since the mall opened.
I couldn't do that. But at least they got first dibs, with the numbers, So
yeah, they ended up marking 80 people that were on that line waiting to get in when the mall opened.
Yep.
And told them, go. When you come back, and you'll be the first ones in line, and we'll go in order number. That is a little excessive, but at the same time, you don't wait until an hour before entry to start setting stuff up. Like, they didn't even have the gates and stuff out. So they had to pull all of that stuff out. Then they had to set all of that stuff up. And because there was a VIP and a general admission, they had to set up 2 separate lines, which made it even more difficult. So that was just, it was crap the way that they did all that. But again, if they learn from it, that's one thing. And if they don't, then they're freaking idiots.
Yeah. But what was cool was it was a couple of girls cosplaying members for BAND-MAID. Lead guitar Miku and lead vocalist Saki. But there were a lot of people in maid outfits and Lolita outfits, hanging out for this. This was a very fun, lively concert, and I enjoyed every single minute of it.
Yeah, the concert itself was absolutely amazing. The crowd was really fun, very much into it. So that aspect of it, after having to wait and stand in line and wait and stand in line and all of that aspect of it really made up for that.
Definitely. Yes. Now, will I see them again in concert if they come through? Probably. Will I do VIP? It depends on the venue. Because when they were at the Gramercy Theater, the VIP section, there was an actual VIP section where you can on the side where you can sit down and enjoy the concert. So.
Yeah, I think that it will definitely do. Like, I would love to go see them again, but I don't think I will see another show in this venue, unless they really do get their act together with it, because venue-wise, it was just very, very random.
Impromptu.
Yeah. And this is something that they had been planning. And I can't imagine something like a Mall of America, where they have all of this extra space and they have all of these stores and they're trying to bring people in, that they're just going to set up, some little rinky-dink stage and not have an actual separate place for, concerts.
Well, I will say this. I mean, back in the 2000s, Mall of America did host, I believe, the very first WCW Monday Night Nitro, like in the center of the mall, on the ground level. Granted, you could go up to the second and third floors and just watch from the ledge area, and watch from there. If I'm not mistaken, there were some seats available, but and I think there was I think AEW had something there. I don't remember, but I know something like that. And to be perfectly honest, if they don't have everything set up in that mall and they're still trying to sell space, take a couple of those spaces and turn it into a concert venue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be different if, all of the stores were completely done and there was no other place. But there were plenty of spaces that they could have sectioned something out specifically for these shows. Like, I really cannot see some of these acts that they want to get, just going on a stage like that. It doesn't seem like that is going to last.
But I will say, regardless of our issues with the venue, seeing BAND-MAID perform in a way does make it worth, the experience.
Oh yeah, the experience was worth it.
Now that we got that out the way, and for the record, I am drinking actual water. And you're probably wondering, why did I say that? because we're going to talk about Derpycon 2022. And before we begin, I have an official disclaimer. I was a former staffer of Derpycon. I believe it was 2016 or 2015, their very first con. I was unceremoniously expelled from staff, and it was basically like pulling teeth to find out what's going on. So, if it does sound like I'm being a little bit biased in my take on this, that is the reason behind it. But later this week or sometime next week, one of our own staffers, La Chocola, who was with us, will have her convention report up on our website at animejamsession.com, where you can definitely check that out. So, now, they say, a con can be bad, but if your friends are going, that can make up for it, which is true. We have talked about in the past conventions we have covered where the con wasn't as good as expected, but the friends going made it worth the trip out there. But when your friends are at this con saying that the con sucks or there are better cons out there, might want to make you wonder about what's going on. Now, last year we sent a team out there to cover for the convention, and everything was taken care of. Press, room, badge, all of that was all taken care of far in advance, and we were golden. This year, I did not find out until a week before Wednesday of the convention, not the Wednesday of the convention, but a week prior, that we were approved for press, because as the head of press ops put it, and let me pull up this email right here. All right. Yeah, this was going back about 2 weeks. I can't believe it's 2 weeks. Hold on. View shows conversations, all mailboxes. Thank you. Okay, regarding present. Here we go. Yeah, basically, I didn't get a reason for the late response, but we were approved. I can understand if it's the con's first year or second year or heck third year, reaching out to find out what's going on. But after that, I think it's kind of crazy. But we got our press passes, and then from there, emailing the head of press ops to find out when we can do interviews. Now, I'm going to give you an example of something. I reached out to one of the, I guess, if not the con chair, the press for AAC, and I believe I reached out to her the same time I reached out to Derpycon. If I'm looking at the dates correct, no, it was a little bit later. My bad. I reached out to AAC Press 2 weeks before the convention. A couple of days later, everything's approved. Send out an email. What's going on? About for interviews. Going back and forth. I get there that Thursday and I talk to somebody. Not even an hour later, I get confirmations for 2 interviews. And I'm perfect with that. Granted, everything took its time because usually when it comes down to the wire for getting the con together, emails kind of get lost in the shuffle. And I get that. But when I got there, everything was taken care of and it was handled. Derpycon, on the other hand, the conversation went from email to text messages, and I didn't get confirmations on interviews until like Saturday morning of the con, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to go look at my messages and take a look at that. I'll actually do that right now, because I have like my little pop-up here of messages, because I do things con based through Google Voice. Yeah. So everything was confirmed on the 29th, that Saturday. Everything was confirmed for that by that morning, by that afternoon. Yeah. I get a half hour prior, for an interview and confirmation of the location. Fine. I would not have minded if it was like a whole round robin type situation. I've done those types of interviews before. That I'm perfectly cool with, Let's get this out of here. Bring this up. So, for press and coverage, they just need to be a little bit more organized to get this together. That's it. Just be a little bit more organized. And once confirmations go out, send an email of interviews, like who do you want to interview? And then you figure out the times from there. Some other conventions do that. Now, one thing about the con for coverage, I try to get there as early as I can. But I've been traveling like in October, so it was kind of hard for me to get there early for the con. But I got there around 5:36. And as it was told to me, I didn't miss anything. It was basically quiet. And I was just like, oh, okay. Now, everything started at 10 a.m. There are some conventions where as soon as 9 a.m. hits, panel rooms start, workshops start, dealers rooms start, artist alley stop. I will give Derpycon points. The event and everything opened up at 10. Registration, con ops, and operations opened at 9. That's great. I think more conventions should start all of their events and dealing and game rooms all that around between 10 and 11. Because on a Saturday and Sunday, because let's be real, there's a bunch of us partying the night before, and we're not going to get up that early. We're at a con to enjoy ourselves and have a good time. So there's no reason to be up that early. Fine. So I did a photo shoot with a couple of friends of mine they did Good Omens. Photos came out really good. Can't wait to finish editing them. So I did not get to check out any panels that Friday night because I was basically overwhelmed with what they had. It was just, and I don't mean overwhelmed in a good way. It was more in a bad way because I'm looking at all these panels. I'm just like, they're trying to cover every little bit of fandom here. But I really didn't see a lot of anime-based panels. I saw panels about cosplay. I saw panels about photography. I saw panels about various video games. I saw panels about various fandoms. I saw panels about traveling to Japan, which is something that you should go to at least once. If your con has a panel about visiting Japan, traveling to Japan, things you need to know, check those panels out because that will definitely come in handy for you when you actually decide to go to Japan. But I didn't see a lot of anime panels. Given that Derpycon is a Gen Con of sorts, I say Gen Con in the aspect of they do anime, video games, sci-fi, fantasy, and the gamut, everything in the middle, And one thing about these types of conventions, you're going to see some classic cosplays as well. Like, there was a group running around as Ranma One Half. I mean, you can't get any more classic than that,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there was a panel about voice acting. Let's have fun and learn. I stopped in for that for 5 minutes, and that was it. This was looked to be an amateur done type panel. It wasn't done by any of the voice acting guests. Honestly, I feel that if there's going to be panels about voice acting and learning and so forth, they should be run by voice actors, not by people who think they know what voice acting is.
Yeah, those panels are usually run by voice actors and most other conventions that I've gone to. So for it not to be run by the voice actor, or at least somebody that knows what they're doing. That seems a little weird.
You're telling me. I did go to a game show panel. They did classic concentration. And what sucked, there was only like 5 people in the panel room. And this was a game show at around midnight. I honestly feel game show panels should be done in the afternoon or prime time evening, not in the late night time slot. And this panel was given 90 minutes, but they only ran for an hour, and that's all that was needed. And the people behind it, they did classic concentration. They had it running through Adobe Flash. Part of the issue was the person running the board didn't know the controls, and the person who wrote the code, if it was me, if I have somebody running the board from, for my game show or my panel, whatever, I'm going to give them like a cheat sheet of all the commands, what they need to press, this and that, That should have been right then and there. Did I have fun doing classic concentration? Absolutely. Would I do it again? Maybe. Now, one thing about Derpycon, they have what's called a film festival. Basically, these are just a bunch of homemade fan films that people submit. I didn't even bother with this. I was like, I don't think I'm going to like what they're going to have because it's not my cup of tea. So I went and walked. But I will say, when it comes to the crowd levels, Friday felt like day 0, Thursday afternoon of a con. What was great was I was able to go down to the game room and do some gaming, because generally when it comes to the game room, there's a line to wait to get in to that game or something like that. I was able to jump in, play some games, and that's it. And I had fun. Now, their main events room. I never heard of a con where the main events room is smaller than Artist Alley, smaller than the game room, but it's 1.5 the size of a panel room.
Yeah, the fact that they had what they estimate right now as 2,000 something?
2,870.
So 2,870 people, yet their main events room can only hold like 250. That seems to be very bad.
Yeah, especially if you're press and you're trying to get a good seat to do coverage. No, as Cinedite says, 2,801. Okay. Now, generally, when you go to a main events room, you have a row of chairs on the left, a row of chairs on the right. It was just one set of chairs going all the way down. So it made things a little hard for me to get a proper angle for recording events, but I was able to get some recording done. And we'll get into that a little bit later. Honestly, I don't feel bad of showing up late for the con on Friday. Granted, the photo shoot I did would have handled a little bit later in the evening, but overall, it was okay. But I will say, getting off the train to go to the con hotel, 2-block walk, that wasn't so bad. It really wasn't. Again, this location, you're literally in downtown New Brunswick, so there is a place across the street to eat. You walk up a block, and you go eat, and you can eat and so forth, but you got to be careful. One thing was cool was there was an after party at the Irish pub. Who am I kidding? At the Irish bar across the street. I went, and it looked like I was the only person from the con there. And I wasn't even in cosplay. And then I found out from a staffer that, there was an issue that happened at the after party there. Evidently, the normies had a problem with some of the transgender cosplayers that were there. Look, cis, trans, or whatever the person wants to be, they are there to have food. They are there to have a drink. They are there to have a good time. They are not bothering you. They are not messing with you. Let them enjoy themselves. They get away from the bullshit on a normal basis to be at a con, to be around people like them, to have a good time. You're not helping the situation at all. So I went, had a drink, and I came back, and I was just like, nope, 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 nope.
Yeah, I mean, from what you're saying, there was nothing actually set aside for. So, I mean, basically, they were just like, oh, hey, by the way, there's a bar across the street, and they know that we're in the area, so we're going to have that as a late night party.
It was on the website. There were flyers for the con in the bar, but you know.
Yeah, but when you're doing something like that, that stuff needs to be completely separated.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the only way it's a convention after party. If you're just saying, okay, well, we have, the bar knows that you guys are coming, and if you show them your badge, you get a discount.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an after party. That's just telling people to go to the bar to hang out. That's completely different.
Like, let me give you a good example. ZenkaiCon had an after party at Tellus 360, which is across the street from the hotel. It's also a bar and club place. The whole back room was for us. We could go into the main area if we wanted to, but the whole back room was for us. And when I walked in, seeing a bunch of awesome nerds and cosplayers having drinks, I'm like, I'm home. Now, another thing is, I'm not too fond of the layout of the hotel. It's like somebody was a fan of The Legend of Zelda and said, let's do it this way.
Yeah, I mean, you can't blame the convention for the hotel's layout.
Right, I can't.
The way that the convention laid themselves out in that area, I was not a fan of the fact that registration, main events, and artist alley basically was like so grouped together that like everybody was just bumping into one another. Like that there just I think it would have been fine if it was 700 people or 1,000 people, but when you start getting up to 2,000 people walking around, people in the registration line, that area was just not set up correctly for the amount of people that needed to be in that area. And so I hope, just because, maybe this was just a jump in people that were going to be there, but, I know that they want to stay in this hotel. I know that they want to stay in this area, and they want to expand on how many people are there. And if that's the case, that area is not going to be able to handle an expansion of people.
Agreed.
And it also didn't help. The doors for main events and the doors for Artist Alley were right next to each other.
Yeah, if you blinked, you would have missed either one.
Right. And they're set behind everything. And, there was signs, but you had to be right on top of it just to see it. And the Artist Alley in the dealer's room, that area did have other sets of doors, which could have relieved some of the, just people in that area being able to go into a different set of doors, or even going into one set of doors and out another set of doors. Because I can't tell you how many times I walked into the dealer's room and people just stopped because they either met friends or they wanted to, take their bag off so that they could shop easier, and they just stopped. And then you had people coming out of the same doors, and it was just caused way too much traffic in that area.
Now, I would say when I was coming in and out, I didn't have that much of an issue per se. But I know there was probably high points on Saturday where that definitely was an issue. Had to be.
Yeah, maybe I was just going in and out at the high point of the day. But it was just it was so congested in that one area. I don't deal well with groups of crowds. Which again with the concert is why I didn't rush to get up to the front of the stage. So to have to go into that area just to try and get into Artist Alley or main events, I was not doing well. It was just way too many people in one very small, tight area.
Yep. Okay, so if you don't show up Friday, you're really not going to miss much of anything. Believe you me. And also, on a side note, the hotel rooms had no microwaves. Refrigerators, yes. Microwaves, no. What's up with that?
That does seem really weird to me, especially for a high-end hotel like this. But the only thing I could think is because they have their own restaurant in the hotel, they didn't want to have microwaves in the rooms, or maybe they don't offer them unless you ask.
Maybe that's it, because I've been to conventions where, the hotel has a restaurant and there's still a microwave in the room. All right, so let's get into Saturday. When I got downstairs, now some of y'all know me. When it comes to a con, I'm ready to get up and be out the door. I was like, no, I'm going to take my time and just get down there because I'm not expecting much. I was genuinely surprised. Saturday, it was packed. I was told by a staffer that they sold out the con. It hit capacity. I'm just like, get the out of here. No way. No effing way. But they did. So, more opportunity to get some cosplay photos. I didn't get as many as I wanted to because I was just relaxing and enjoying myself and taking pictures when possible, when it was convenient. That was my thing. Again, and I'm looking at Saturday's panels, and I can tell you this. Here is the panels I'm going to throw out there. Cosplay TikToking panel. One about My Little Pony. Wigs. Con Safety 101, which that should be a Friday panel if you ask me. Highlights of The Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors. A panel about if you want to get into cosplay chess. There was a panel about scary Saturday morning cartoons. Anime bar trivia. And yes, a burlesque show. I think I'm kind of burlesqued out with burlesque shows at conventions. I know it puts butts in seats, but I just don't care anymore. There's a whole video room just for this film festival. There's panels on how to play. I see on how to play D&D. There is a Saturday D&D session. I didn't really see much in the ways of anime here. It's like they got a little bit of everything, but forgot about anime.
I mean, there's definitely little bits of anime mixed in.
Yes.
But I think just the sheer amount of stuff that I like all of their video, from what I'm seeing here, all of their video until late night was the AMV or the film festival.
Yeah.
When I go to a convention, that's not what I want to watch.
Exactly.
And, I get it. It's something different, but at the same time, when I go to a convention, I don't even care if all I'm doing is watching Crunchyroll, which I know is basically given to conventions because I've done, I was the head of video for a convention. Crunchyroll is one of those that they just give out. Here's your convention password. You can play it in this room all day.
Right.
So for a convention to not have your typical anime video room and just have like fan films and stuff like that, that seems very weird to me. I get it. It's a Gen Con, but that's something that's very easy and it doesn't take a lot of manpower, and it's something that people going to even Gen Cons have something like that.
I even spoke with the future head for event program. I should have said, cut down on the number of panels, because I felt there were more panels than people. Now, I can understand if they had like 15 panels for the convention that whole weekend, and there were no more than 10 people in each. Well, not many people are coming because of the pandemic. Now, you have about 30 panels, and it ranges anywhere between 4 and 25, then maybe you need to kind of shuffle things around or eliminate them. Now, they have what's called the meme room. The meme room is just meme videos and images going the whole weekend. And evidently that was popular. I popped my head in for like 30 seconds and walked. I was like, nope, no. Get rid of the meme room. Cut down on the film festival. Eliminate a panel room. And I think you got something good going here.
Well, I don't think a panel room needs to be eliminated.
There's three panel rooms.
Well, yeah, but one of the panel rooms they did a lot of their gaming stuff in, like the anime roulette and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was panel room 1. Yeah, that was the biggest room. That's the biggest one of them all. That could be your panels. That could be your game shows and workshops.
Right. If you want to do something like that, that's fine. Have panel room 1. You've got your game shows. You've got your workshops. Panel room 2 can be your other panels, and then panel room 3 can be your specialties. You want to have, not just workshops, but you want to go, okay, well, here's your tech, how to do Twitch. Here's your, your photography. Here is, things like that. You want to, if you're going to do something like that, then you can have each panel room be a specific thing. And that will help to make it less busy. But I mean, at the same time, you've got, again, you've got, only 2,000 people. You don't need 3 panel rooms with a whole crap ton of stuff happening, plus your film festival, plus your main event stuff, plus your tabletop, plus, all of that. It's too much and not enough people in each of these panels. If I were somebody that was hosting one of these panels and I only had 5 people show up because there was so much else to do, I would never want to do a panel in this convention again.
Right.
And I mean, that happens when you have too much stuff going on. So I get where it's too many panels, but at the same time, I think it just needs to be organized a little bit better in order to really, give the people the chance, okay, well, everything that I want to do is going to be in this panel room. I don't have to keep going back and forth. I can, just stay here. Whereas, it's a little bit of a mess looking at the schedule.
Yeah, I mean, in comparison to a small con, AAC, the panels were spread out. I felt as if I could go, take some photos, go enjoy a couple of panels, go grab something to eat, go through this again, and not worry about missing anything. Here, it's like, where do I begin, Now, let's talk. Let's talk masquerade, or as I would like to call it, Idol Showdown. First things first. Masquerade was supposed to start at 6 p.m. It did not start until 6:45. There was a 45-minute break for room clear. They could have done a 15-minute break for the room clear and started seating people at 5:30 for things to kick off at 6. The masquerade in itself was great. I enjoyed it. I call it Idol Showdown because almost every single skit was an idol song and dance. Mostly Love Live. But don't get it wrong. I enjoy Love Live. I love it. I love seeing, local Love Live troops get up on stage and do their thing. But when it's multiple ones, at that point, you need to shuffle them off and put them on their own thing. That's what cons are doing. They're doing like a Friday evening or Saturday afternoon idol showcase for that. If it was me, I would have an idol showdown Friday night. All the Love Live, AKB 0048, Idoli, all of them. Here is your chance to perform. The top 3 winning groups out of the idol showcase will get a spot in the masquerade to compete. That's what I would do. Simple as that. It was just way too much. And then they're telling people to make room, don't hold spots. Now, I was sort of holding a spot because I needed the space to set everything up. But someone sat down, that's fine. And what sucked is when the person was trying to get by, his voice might have been picked up on the microphone, or when he moved by, the camcorder the tripod moved. I'm like, do you not see this is right here? Maybe I need to put signs on the tripod that says this event is being recorded. Be careful. Your voice can be picked up, whatever. Now, the host of the masquerade, I believe he went by the name of Peace. I thought he was a funny dude. He was out there. But the problem I had was almost every time he come back on stage to get the hype going and introduce the next skit, he will go off stage, get the paper, come back, and then announce it. I have seen masquerades where everything is on a teleprompter. Everything is on a sheet of paper. Everything is in a book. Or as they come up on stage, they're handed a new piece of paper to introduce this group. Now, I don't want to take away from the winner, but my issue is how conventions are rolling out Best in Show. Generally, the winner of Best in Show is somebody who did craftsmanship and also a performance. Because you can get Best Craftsmanship, Best Skit, and then Best in Show. I should know. I am a former Best in Show winner. But now it's starting to change where you do craftsmanship and a walk-on. I have seen people win craftsmanship awards and get a Best in Show award. I'm sorry. If you've already won an award outside of a judge's award, you do not qualify to go ahead and win Best in Show. That's just my personal opinion. I know I am not the only person that shares this opinion, but I understand it's a small con. But again, 90% of conventions that are run in this country are by people who are former con runners, con staffers, con department heads, and so forth. They should all know by now. I would say the Masquerade, I would give a 7 out of 10. And I'm being generous because it was the Love Live troops that really got me going, and that kind of gave me a damn good time. Am I done ranting?
I don't know. Are you?
No. Sunday. Sunday felt like day zero all over again. The panels that they have were great, but it was just not my thing. I just wasn't interested. I walked in, took some pictures of whoever was doing stuff, and I walked out. I went downstairs, did some gaming. I walked around the dealer's hall a couple times, grabbed some photos, and that was it. This was just... I can understand why it's called Derpycon. Personally, I'd probably change it to Cluster F Con. Because here's the thing. You expect a con run by former staffers, former heads, to put on something better. The issues me and Mako that are having with this con, we'd excuse if it was the first or second year. But that's not really the case here. I believe this is their 6th or 7th year, and it's like, as my drill instructor would say, y'all haven't gone past training day 1, and here we are, week 3. Honestly, I would give Derpycon another try. I will go back one more time, and just hoping that there are some changes made. Because if not, I don't think I would go back unless there was a guest there that I really want. And even then, I would just day trip it, and depending on where it is, just book a room for one night, and that's it. No cosplay, no nothing. I brought 2 cosplays with me, Garterbelt and Luigi. I didn't even wear Luigi. I wore Garterbelt for one person because she was dressed up as Panty Anarchy. I got my picture. That was it. I went back to my room and I took it off. Derpycon is a convention where you need your friends. Your friends are the only ones that are going to help you get through this.
On top of that, I am not a fan of the location. Mm-hmm. And I think that changing that location is probably something they need to look into. New Brunswick is not a safe area. There are certain areas of it that are safe. The closer that you get to the college, the better. But I understand having it in a city like this because there is a lot of food and they are open late. But at the same time, there's a reason why, certain towns in New Jersey are used as the back face for Gotham City.
Mm-hmm.
Newark, New Brunswick, those are used as the backdrop. They're not, what you would call safe cities. And the further away from certain areas you get, the worse they get. And so to have all of these people, just, and not, I guess, having them warned of the area, is kind of bad. And people want to talk about Atlantic City and how bad Atlantic City is. But if you stay on the one main road, you're fine. When you go off of that one main road, that's when it gets scary. Mm-hmm. All of New Brunswick is scary. It is
Maybe.
not the place that you want your 13-year-old walking around to go and get food somewhere.
Yes. Now, another thing. I love the fact that cons are having after parties. There are cons that are having more 18 plus panels. But given the issue of the late night party, at this point, just shut down one of your panel rooms, have a DJ come in, make that a 21 plus party room, and have a cash bar. And don't say you can't do it, because it can be done. I kind of think when they were over in Parsippany or wherever, I think that hotel was bigger. I could be wrong.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
about the size of the hotel. It all matters on how it's used.
Yeah. Now,
and there is space for them to grow into this hotel. But maybe they need to look at some of these other spacings instead of what they have, not including what they have, but having something a little bit more open. As in, not everything needs to be on the first or second level.
Right.
Having some extra space, even if there's nothing else to do on that area, that would be helpful for some of the traffic.
Now, like I said, evidently the Meme Central room is popular. Yeah, shut that down 4 hours before the end of the night. Put your 21 plus party in there. Video 9 3/4. Cut down your film festival to a 2-hour event on Friday and Saturday and have regular programming in there. Every department has their own room. Con ops should definitely have their own room, but I don't think that network ops, program ops, press ops, and let's see. Let me look at the main, the lower level. Is this it? Not lobby level, and public safety needs their own separate rooms. You could put that all in 1 or 2 rooms. You don't that. Work with the space that you have. Work with that. And karaoke wasn't even running all day during the weekend. Karaoke was shut down for a short period of time just so they could run the swap meet. If Meme Central is empty and you're just running memes in there, make that more of a swap meet location. You got that. I know Derpycon has the Artemis flight simulation room. If there are not a lot of people doing that flight sim, don't bring it back. Work with what you got.
Yeah, my thing is with the meme room, was it a whole entire weekend of different memes, or did they end up having to repeat them?
They probably repeated them.
Because if that's the case and they repeated, how many times during the weekends, then you don't need it running all weekend.
Now, one thing I did like, they have an attendee lounge. I haven't been in there. The attendee lounge is something that they've had since the year 1. This is where you go when you just kind of want to get away from the crowds, but you don't want to go back to your room. Light snacks, a drink, that would be great. Now, the lobby level behind the hotel registration was basically where you did all of your autographs. I think that should have been relocated somewhere else. I think that, I'm just saying, if it was up to me, 2 panel rooms, 3rd panel room would have been autograph sessions. But even still, even if you couldn't do that, get rid of Meme Central. Turn that into your gen room. Have your autograph sessions there. And when the autograph sessions are not happening there, have your 21 plus dance party in there. That's not going on. Something else.
I didn't mind where they had the autographs set up.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a good use of an space.
Yeah.
But because of everything being packed in that area,
Mm-hmm.
again, where the autographs were was right next to where the dealers and artist alley were. So to have, so many things happening in that small little section, that was overwhelming.
But it was kind of smart so that autograph session, run to dealer's room to buy something, get back to the line to get something signed.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But then we needed to either move where registration was or where the main events were, because there were just too many things that you could only get to in that small little section. And that, I think, is what it was just traffic jam. Yeah. Every time I went through there, it was just traffic jam.
See, in a way, that line, it reminded me when I used to work at Staples during back to school. We had like a mini cart where we would go down the line, scan everything, put it in a bag, and you got a ticket. You went to the front with the ticket and you got your stuff and you walked out. And they changed it where, instead of a ticket, we printed out your receipt right there. Here's your stuff in the bag. You're good to go. What they should have done was have something like that with this long line. Go down the line. They were telling everybody, online registration. Do everything online. All you have to do everything online. Scan the QR code. Have a mobile printer. Print out the code. Slap it on the back of the badge. Hand them their swag bag. Send them on their way. Gotta learn to be a little bit creative. But I will say, the game room did not smell like funk.
I didn't even make it down to the game room.
You would have enjoyed it.
Yeah, I saw that you were taking a little bit of video. I did like that they had actual pinball machines.
Yeah, one was Godzilla, but I don't remember the other one.
Yeah, that's not something that you see very often at a convention, just because to set it up correctly and not have it be off level and things like that, and to travel with it and do stuff like that, that's impressive if it worked right.
Yeah.
But again, I didn't make it down there, so I don't know how it was.
Overall, if you can't make it to this con next year, unless there really is a guest you want to see, you're not going to be too terribly disappointed.
No, it was a very young crowd. I saw. There were some, old farts like us, but it was a very young crowd, and I was disappointed in some of the parents who just let their kids go, and they just sat there in the lobby and just, again, 13 is too young to be in that area by themselves. And if you're just sitting in their lobby and you're not paying attention to your kid, they're going and doing stupid crap. Yes,
a convention is not a babysitter place,
I mean, it's great you're actually in the area, you didn't just drop them off and go, but 13 is too young to be walking around the convention by themselves, especially with the area outside. Because I'm sorry, at 13, I would have been going outside to see who was hanging out and, who was walking around, and, oh, look, there's food right there across the street. Let me go across the street and get some food. Mom's not around. What's she gonna know if I go across the street? Oh, look, there's a 7-Eleven 2 blocks away, going into the heart of New Brunswick. It's just bad. It's bad. So with that, I say, parents, don't just be that parent. If you love your kid enough to bring them to all of this stuff, and you support them with all of this stuff, support them fully and walk around with them, see what makes them excited, be part of that. Don't just say, okay, go and have fun. It's different if it's like CloverCon or something like that. The area is very out there and open and things like that. It's not the city center. And it's not even that it's New York City. It's New Brunswick, and New Brunswick is not good.
No. So, I think we're done with that. Now, before we continue, Mako, do you feel like doing an article for Meanwhile in Japan, or do you want to call it a night?
Given how late it is, I would really like to call it a night.
Good. That's why I decided to give you that option. Unfortunately, we will not be doing Meanwhile in Japan tonight, but we will be going ahead and basically ending the show. To be fair, I did not think that we'd have this much to talk about with Derpycon, which is why I threw the concert on here. If I had known that, I would have taken that out and we would have just run right through. And I know, and to be perfectly honest, I know there are con goers and staffers that are not going to like what we thought of the convention. But we did throw some positivity in here. There are ways to make improvements. Increase your staffing. Reevaluate the locations of where everything is, That'll help, We're probably not the only ones, given basically criticizing how the con is. So, hell, there are other conventions that we have done reviews on, and we've had some critical things. They've reached out to us and thanked us for some of the ideas and suggestions, Most importantly, figure out a way to make your main events a little bit bigger. Even if that means you got to make your artist alley room a little bit smaller, I mean, you had at least it was one vendor there selling DVDs. All right. If you like tonight's show, I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. But seriously, if you like tonight's show, tell a friend. They in turn will tell another friend, and so on and so forth. We're independent bloggers. We're independent podcasters. We do this for the fun of it. So what we tell you what we like and don't like, we mean that. So if you have any questions, ideas, thoughts, and suggestions about the show, you can drop us a line at podcast@animejamsession.com. Again, that is podcast@animejamsession.com. We're here to believe you. And don't forget to visit our website at animejamsession.com, where you will find our cosplay tips and tricks, cosplay interviews. You'll also find links to our YouTube video coverage, links to our Facebook cosplay coverage, anime reviews, editorials, our weekly podcast, and a lot more at animejamsession.com. And if you like this show, you can take it on the road with you. Any podcasting app that's available, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify. Search Anime Jam Session. There's over 500 episodes of your listening pleasure. Check them out. And what's cool is these apps allow you the ability to leave reviews. So if you can, drop us a line. We'd love to know. Perfect if you just don't want to send an email either. And please follow us on our social media pages, our YouTube page, our Twitter page, and our Facebook page. It's all Anime Jam Session. Follow us on those. That way you know when we're going live, when we have new articles up, when new videos are up, and new photos, and then some. So now we're going to go around the room. Last words, Mako-chan.
I'm looking forward to sleep. I am, however, not looking forward to this weekend.
My last words is, I still need to unpack.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah. Down below is our tip jar. You can click on our Stream Elements link or our Ko-Fi link and you can throw us a few dollars if you like. You can throw us bits in the chat. Subscriptions are, you can subscribe to our channel. And starting next week, when you give a gift subscription or when you subscribe to the channel, get a 3-month trial membership to Game Pass. It's pretty cool. I have it. It's awesome. So that is it. End of list. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Ari will be back. It'll be fun times. I think. I hope. Hearts. That's it. I'm getting out of here. So, I'm Ranma.
And I am Mako-chan.
Great fight. Great night. See you next week.
Night.
Say goodnight, Mako-chan.
Good night, Mako-chan.
Perfect. Awesome. We're out of here. See you all next week.
This podcast has been a production of Anime Jam Session and AJS Productions. No fanboys and fangirls were hurt, maimed, shot, electrocuted, or pistol whipped in this episode. For now. The views, opinions, and thoughts expressed on this show do not reflect the staff or the network as a whole. But we're still right, damn it. For transcripts of this episode, start typing. Check us out at animejamsession.com and vognetwork.com for more information about us and other programming. Jamatane!